Hi, everybody. It's Kyle Carrot Cake. Sorry I've been gone for a while. Today I'm just going to be chatting with my buddy Marcirius here. Marcirius, give him a hi.
Hello.
Hello. Come on, do better than that, you introverted little geepy
Hey
boy.
man, I'm reading. Leave me alone.
Well, what are you reading?
I'm reading the. It's one of the things about the expansion for Odyssey, the Atlantis one.
Oh, yeah, I played that one. What are you trying to figure out?
How to start it?
How to start it?
Yeah.
So the way to start the Atlantis one, um, it goes back into spoilers. I could tell you how to do it, but I'd have to spoil a little bit.
Oh, is it you have to get so far in the campaign first?
Yes. So basically, you were asking about the staff, and where you find the staff is where you start the Atlantis DLC.
Oh, do you have to beat the campaign to get it to start Atlantis?
I want to say yes. I believe you do. Yes, you do.
Okay.
Yes, because when you start the Atlantis DLC, the main character has the staff.
Okay, so that means you can't get the Spirit of Poseidon until post game.
Uh, the Spirit Poseidon. No, you should be able to get the Spirit Poseidon before then, because the Spirit Poseidon, I'm pretty sure, has the ability to let you like breathe underwater, and I had that
Yeah,
before I started the Atlantis DLC.
Spirit of Poseidon.
Because I remember like in Atlantis there is a lot of water, but and so having the spear really helped out.
Yeah, because I've got Hades as Biden. Um, but I got that because I had like a bunch of Helix credits for some reason when I started the game.
Hmm.
Oh, it was from my Ubisoft account. I got a bunch of free crap, and then there was a promotion going on. I think I actually did buy a package too.
I've I built up. I remember I built up so much of those Ubisoft points playing like all the Assassin's Creeds on Xbox 360, and also playing. Oh, I want to. Was it The Sims?
Yeah,
I think yeah, it was The Sims. I played like a crap ton of Sims 3 too, and so like when I started being able to access that Ubisoft store, and I saw I had like 5,000 points, I was like, oh hell yeah! Now
yeah, dude. I can't
unfortunately
even
I'm
remember what
down
I
to like
spent it all on.
30.
Yeah, I don't think I have like 8 or some shit like that.
And it's not
Um,
easy to make it anymore like it used to be.
yeah, I know. You just like, oh well, I ran up a building. Oh, here's 50 points. Okay.
Yeah, like complete a chapter. Here's 100 points. That was a really short chapter.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the tutorial on Valhalla was a Ubisoft achievement.
That doesn't surprise me.
Let's see.
I remember, I think I told you this before. I started Valhalla. I bought it like a week after it came out. I was super excited because I just got done playing like a lot of Odyssey, and I start the game, and like I get into my first combat, and I was like, oh no, because like it felt like I was hitting with like a wet paper towel. Like it was like I had a sword, like a hilt with a wet cardboard, and it's just that's the feeling I got when I swung at somebody. And I was like, oh man, the combat's really. It's like it's not bad, but it doesn't give me that feeling of like, oh man, I really messed this guy up. And
Yeah,
so
like
I
where's my
didn't
power fantasy?
exactly, and so I didn't continue it. And then like I come back to it a couple years later, like not too long ago, and I played it again. I was like, oh, this is really fun. I don't know why I didn't like it really at the first time. I'm really enjoying this, and I'm realizing that the reason I didn't care for it at first is because I just came off of Odyssey, where my character was so powerful.
Well, you were like maxed out, like completely.
Yes, so like I'm over here just like smiting like people that were like 5 levels higher than me, and then going into Valhalla and like hitting someone with like one of those like wiffle ball bats.
I mean, yeah, it feels pretty rough right now, actually, in Odyssey. I guess because the levels keep keep up with you. I guess I'm a 35, and a 37 gives me a hard time.
Really? What difficulty are you
Yeah,
playing on?
ooh, that's good. I think I'm on normal.
That's actually very strange. I mean, I
Maybe
remember.
it's spear playthrough. I don't know. I did a full warrior build. Like I don't use any of the. I use some of the bows, just a few of the skills, and then I'm still working on getting skill points for the assassin abilities.
Um, I don't know. I mean, you? I guess it depends on how you play. Like me, I have that assassination. I don't want to say ultimate move because it's not the ultimate move. There's an actual ultimate move you use when you're in combat. It's the assassination skill, basically. That's not just regular assassinate. It's the one where you can throw your spear and get like a shit ton of assassination damage on them.
Oh, the rush assassination. Yeah,
Yes, I would use that. Um, and
and it can be chained up to 3 times, I think.
I believe so. Yes. Well, I would use that to begin with and get like a nice good bit of assassination crit damage, and then I would immediately jump as soon as they stood up. I would immediately jump into my ult move, and then as soon as they got up, I would try and swing my way into building my ult back up. And anytime like they took a swing at me, I would back off and let them come to me.
What about the hero strike ult?
Yes, the gold bar, and when you press both the bumpers, you like stun them with a combo. But
Hey, I see what you're talking about. Yeah, it's literally overpowering attack.
yes, exactly.
But what you use? You use dual blades or
I used no, I used one-handed sword.
one-handed sword? Yeah,
Yes.
the spear's ult is really hard to land hits with.
I don't remember too much about it. Is it the one that spins?
Yeah, like so you jab, and then you like fucking do a twirl on a twirl, but like you don't step forward very far, and so if you knock them back with that first twirl that you do, you're not getting the rest of the hits on them. And it doesn't stun them or anything, so they can freely dodge and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And it's really like it's just annoying. It does do decent AoE on the trash guys though, like the small guys. You can literally just wipe a whole pack of them with it.
Yes, that's definitely good for AoE. I don't, but I think mostly through the game, I sometimes did use twin daggers, but I mostly used the one-handed sword because mine I think had poison damage, which also really helps with my strat of like getting those few hits in and then backing off a bit and letting that poison damage like do its work.
Just melt them.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to get. I've got the obviously they're using the flame. The way I'm doing it, since my armor and weapon get boosted to flame damage, I'm using the flaming weapons with the bonus skill points into the damage.
Yeah.
And then I usually just sneak up to them and do an assassination. I guess I should probably slot that rush assassination to get the crit. Because I could because you can activate the freaking battlecry areas before you even go into combat and still use an assassination ability
See, now I'm
to get the
wondering.
buff.
Yeah, now I'm wondering if it was the rush assassination or if there's a different type of assassination skill you can use where you grab them by the shoulder, turn them around, and then stab them with the spear.
There's the critical assassination.
I think that's the one that I was using.
Yeah, that's what I'm using. I'll use that and then immediately follow it up. If I don't have any adrenaline, I'll immediately follow up with that little one where you like immediately trigger a stun, they can't move, and you just start stabbing them in the face with the spear over and over and over.
Yeah.
And then it gives you 3 adrenaline bars, and then I just immediately ult on them. But on some of these guys, like they'll take all of that and not even have a half a health bar of damage. I'm like, oh my god, this guy is so beefy.
I'm loading up some Power Wash Simulator just so I have something to do while we chat.
Power wash.
It's addictive, man, especially for someone like me with ADHD and just like just something to hyper fixate on.
It's funny since you were just complaining about having something you had to do over and over and over for a job.
Yeah. Well, there's a difference because this is entertaining, and moving boxes from one place to another for 12 hours straight is not entertaining.
So what I'm hearing is you need to open up a power washing company. You just need to
Bro, you're gonna see, like, I'm telling you, I bet if I googled it right now, I bet there's like a rise in people applying for power washing or doing power wash startups just because of this game. They're like, oh man, it's so fun in this game, it's so easy, I just should start a company, and then not realize probably how much this equipment actually costs.
I don't think it'd be as much as you think.
Yeah, I don't know. You got to have like a decent supply of water at all times, because I don't know if that's the question. I don't think would you be allowed to use that owner's home's water, because that would just rack up their water bill, let alone the bill you would charge them.
I mean, you need water to do your job. How else are they gonna? I mean, what are you doing? They're like cleaning off concrete and stuff, or
Oh, in Power Wash Simulator, you go between like vehicles and like public places. So right now I'm cleaning up a playground. So,
yeah. So that you could just hook up to the playground. It's public water.
well, yeah, and that's the
They
thing
have a water
that
line
makes
you
me
can hook
wonder,
to.
because it's city water. Yeah, I could hook up to it, but what if it comes down to like a private residence? Do I need to supply my own like tank of water that I use, so that way I'm not racking up the customer's water bill?
I mean, I've never seen anybody power washing with like a giant tank water truck or anything. Like they usually are hooked up to a water line.
See, there's the thing. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how freelance power washing works.
Can't imagine it'd be too hard though. The hard part would be if the power washing doesn't work.
Oh, like, what do you mean? Like, they go in, they're like, all right, we did it, it's done, and you go, and there's just like shit still everywhere.
More like they're like, oh, we need you to power wash this, and you're like, all right, cool. You start spraying it, and shit ain't coming off. Like, it just ain't happening.
Well, that's the thing about power washing is like there's a machine for everything, and there's a soap for everything. Like, the professional power washers can get rust off cars. I'm pretty sure they can get a deep stain off of like a bench or something.
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be that bad as long as you didn't overdo it and like peel the paint off of it, and they try and like fine you like our benches were painted, your pressure washing got all the paint off of it, blah blah blah. You'd have to have like liability forms and shit.
Here's a question I have. Rust. I thought that was a chemical alteration of the metal.
Oxidation.
Yeah, I I know it's a buildup, kind of like, you know, how fungi can be a buildup.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize is rust something you can actually like properly wash off without damaging what's underneath? I thought that was the metal
rust
underneath
is the
going
damage.
through a chemical change, like physically altering.
You could polish off rust and then recoat it with a protective coating to keep it from rusting more. But at some point, it would rust. Something can be rusted too much, as far as I understand, at least.
You know, like, you know, if we pulled the Titanic out of the ocean, we could just give that baby a nice power wash, right? That thing would be good as new.
Definitely thinner for sure.
Oh yeah, no, that
Because the metal. I mean, the metal itself is getting weaker. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm sure you could do it.
I remember when I was a kid and I was going through my every 5-year Titanic binge of information, that I remember reading about the whole ping pong ball situation where people were thinking about trying to raise the Titanic by like putting a bunch of ping pong balls in the carcass of the ship and letting them rise. I was like, oh, that's sick, I can't wait for that. And it never happened. And like years later now, as I think about it, I'm like, that's dumb. Who would ever think of doing something like that? You know, like 5-year-old me would have supported anything if it sounded like awesome. Like, oh man, what? We want to nuke Mars to terraform it? Bro, sign me up. Like, but I guess that just means I don't know enough about the science. Like, would nuking Mars actually terraform it?
Oof. I mean, where are you going to test that theory? Are you going to test it on Mars after you paid millions of dollars for a nuke?
I assume
and getting it there.
I assume we have plenty of information here. I mean, you have nuclear fallout from the Chernobyl 3 Mile. Oh, actually, I don't know about 3 Mile Island. I don't know too much about
the
that.
Elephant's toe.
The elephant's foot, for one.
Elephant's foot, yeah. Whatever. And toe, foot, whatever.
Don't you sass me, boy. Listen, no. It's not just that. Like, the nuclear fallout from Chernobyl was miles. Like, the quarantine zone is very big, but like, you know, it's still relatively safe to go in. But that's not what I mean. What I mean is you have the Bikini Atoll Islands. You have wherever Russia dropped the Tsar Bomba. You have Hiroshima, Nagasaki, like places the bombs were actually dropped. Like, how did they change agriculturally?
Yeah, but I mean, you got to understand what radiation itself does to. I mean, nuking it on its own wouldn't do anything if it has no actual life to be altered. It would just cause radiation to the land itself. If there were attempts to grow life and then trying to nuke it is some sort of crazy crackpot theory to encourage like radiational changes, or not radiation changes, forced evolution, I guess. You know?
Yeah.
That sounds like something we'd be testing way less on planets and more on actual creatures. It also sounds super unethical.
You'd be surprised.
I mean,
there's so much we do, and then there's some things we don't do for some reason.
Yeah, like cloning. Like, I mean, if you can clone, like, the particles of meat, not the actual animal, but, like, clone the cells that make up a steak, and clone a steak, not a cow, a steak. You just only have to have one perfect steak, and then do the process to continuously clone that steak. You know, why even have cattle farms at that point? Get all that land that you could use now for anything else, and you're not having to slaughter cattle constantly. You know, that makes sense to me.
Speaking of cloning, I watched Jurassic Park Dominion recently, and I don't think I ever finished the first Jurassic World, and I definitely haven't seen the second one. But my mom wanted to watch the third one, so I decided to watch it with her because she's seen them all. And part of the story is that Chris Pratt and the girl, I don't know her name, the girl that plays...
I've already seen it.
Yeah, okay, so you've seen it. So their daughter, she's a clone. So
yeah, she's a clone of what's-his-face's daughter.
Yeah, a granddaughter, I think. But like the original park's owner. Yeah, from the original Jurassic Park. But they bring up the whole aspect of like, if someone is cloned, you know, through the use of technology of a company, does that clone belong to that company? Like, it brought up a whole ethics thing that like kind of made me think. I was like, no, there's no way in real life we would actually do that. No one would actually, you know, have those kind of thoughts.
Have you not seen The Island?
The Island?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I think it's called The Island.
What's The Island?
It's an island of clones that are there. Like, rich people are cloning themselves for viable organs to put into their bodies. So they're basically raising perfect health versions of themselves that are only there as replacement organs.
Now, this is media. This isn't. You're not talking about real life, are you?
No, media. It's a movie.
Okay.
It does sound way too real to me. You know, you're like that's probably actually a thing. Like,
yeah, like I'm like, look, I guess I haven't been keeping up with technology as well as I should have. Are we really already? Are we already past cloning?
Did they clone that sheep?
Oh, did they clone a sheep?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Tell me about that.
I swear they genuinely cloned. Yeah, they genuinely cloned a sheep because there was like this whole big fucking ordeal about it. So they had like an ethics thing where they were talking about whether or not it was ethical to clone things.
I mean, I don't think it's morally wrong to clone something. It comes into the same concept of, someone being naturally born. Like, no one asked if I wanted to be born, but yet here I am, and no one bats their eye at it. So I figured it would be under the same concept of, that this other entity that's the same as the original one was just brought into the world without its permission. Now, I feel like the morality of it would probably come from if someone like had a religious like a religious bias against it, like, oh, we're playing God.
Yeah. So I mean, I want to say they're cloning that one of the dogs from 9/11 a lot.
What?
Yeah, one of the rescue dogs. They're cloning it and raising it to be a rescue dog or some shit.
I'm not like, that's cool. I'm just like, that's so out of left park.
Hey man, that's just what I fucking hear. Like, I don't. The validity of the information is all up to your own research.
You're absolutely right. It's not like I don't believe you. It's not like I'm like, oh, he's just making this up off the top of his head. He's gaslighting me. There's no way this is real. It's just like the concept of it is just like, this one dog from 9/11. Like, why did it have to be specifically 9/11? Why don't we get a dog, that served out in like a war?
Out of lives or so.
Yeah, like, I mean,
I hate to say it, but patriotism is why the 9/11 dog.
I know, yeah, like, don't get me wrong. Like I said, still cool. I'm not bashing against it, but like,
I mean, it's cool. I mean, if it was a very genetically perfect dog for, rescuing people, then sure, by all means, clone it.
The way you said it, just like genetically, like my anime brain went straight to Full Metal Alchemist. I'm like, oh god. Just don't let it speak English, please. And tell me it doesn't have any siblings.
That thing they're trying to gene splice animal genes into human babies. I mean, I know you've heard about the cat girl thing.
No, I have not. What? Or maybe I have. It sounds familiar.
Something about the Japanese. It's always
making real cat girls.
They were joking about it. How they're gonna get their anime cat girls because they were trying to make animal genes into humans to enhance the children. Uh-huh. Basically, like think designer babies on crack.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and I mean they're trying to bring back the mammoth too. And I think that's in Taiwan. I want to say it's Taiwan. They got DNA samples they're trying to clone to make a baby mammoth. They're doing all kinds of crazy.
I don't know how good that would be.
World.
There's a completely different we're in a completely different ecological state as compared to when the mammoth existed. Would it even be able to survive in current? Would it even be able to survive in the current world?
Well, I'm gonna assume if they were not able to get a full gene, then they would have to use partial genes from the African elephant. Which would mean it would not be a mammoth. It'd be some sort of weird hybrid.
It'd be a subspecies.
Yeah. But since the mammoth is the originator, then I guess it'd work. But how's a female African elephant gonna birth a mammoth baby, like a healthy mammoth baby? What if her body just rejects it?
Lives for science. At this point, they're just aperture science. I mean,
I guess technically they could go ahead and clone a female mammoth, so they're not killing one that's already alive. But still, ethically, if she dies, you're still killing a mammoth, a fucking elephant.
Yeah.
And they're not doing too hot as it is.
Yeah, no. A lot of animals aren't doing too hot. Aren't rhinoceroses extinct?
Yeah. White rhinos, I believe.
Oh, white rhinos. Okay.
Or no, sorry. Wild white rhinos are extinct.
Okay. I could have sworn I thought for some reason I heard that just rhinos were extinct. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that's one of like the main animals you learn about growing up. And it's just gone?
Yeah, just think the way we're headed, there will be a generation of human children that do not know what a rhino is except for some mythological creature. It'll become a unicorn.
A dragon. It'll be the
Literally.
triceratops of our age.
Yeah.
Which is funny. Like, I wish I could go to the future and see if they discover fossils from animals from our time and do the same shit we did to dinosaurs and just like make them look how they
Like
would
a
with
Jurassic
skin.
Park movie and
Yes,
stuff.
like make them look how they would with if it was just skin matching the bones.
Oh, that'd be so weird. Well, part of the reason a lot of them know about like what's a bird and what's not is because the bone structure is very similar to current birds, and so they just assume it's gonna have feathers and stuff like that,
Yeah.
based on the way the bone structure is and stuff. But I'm sure there's some genetic similarities as well. If you can get genetic samples out of bone, I don't know. I mean, aren't fossils just rock,
Uh
calcified bones, basically?
yeah, no, you can find genetic samples out of fossils. I'm pretty sure, or I might be thinking of, is it amber?
Well, that's a perfectly fossilized, like, if no bacteria was available to properly decompose the, like, flesh and stuff like that, then
Let's look it
I
up.
guess technically it could still hold genetic information.
Let's look it up real quick. Let's look it up. Google.
I know you can, because that's what the whole thing about the expedition, I want to say it was Josh Gates was going, Expedition Unknown or whatever, he went on them to find a viable mammoth sample for the cloning process.
Can you get DNA from fossils from poop?
Yes.
Yes, you can. There's a lot of DNA in there, actually. Ancient DNA can be extracted from a wide range of source material. Much of this source material is found in museums. This material includes archaeological specimens, fossils, historical skeletal material, mummified tissues, medical specimen archives, and preserved plant remains. So, yes, you can get DNA from fossils.
See, I knew you could get DNA from fossils.
You didn't know, no.
I was pretty sure you could get DNA from fossils.
Whatever. Um,
Um,
what was I gonna say? So tell me more about this job you're applying for again. Because I know you told me like twice, but like I have the memory of a goldfish lately.
so it's a company that specializes in um, AI. They call it AI, but when you dig further into it, it's just a fancy name for autonomous software for businesses.
Okay.
Basically, they develop it and they have a product that they sell that is used to streamline a lot of business processes, and they're looking for someone to assist in like troubleshooting it if it ever breaks, but they're also willing to train like from the development side on how they actually built it, how they're patching it, how they're upgrading it, stuff like that. And that's what I'm interested in. And also to see what kind of functionality the program actually has. Like how advanced can it get? Is it being utilized properly as far as the actual software?
Michael, what if this company you're joining is the one that builds the basilisk?
Basilisk.
So you've never heard of the basilisk?
No.
All right. So, fair warning. If you don't, this is basically one of those like kind of creepy pasta, but also like, you know, like thought traps where it actually has been known to like this thought trap has actually been known to like make people get really anxious. So I'm just giving you like a heads up. I'm not saying like you're weak minded or anything. Just giving you a kind of idea of what it's about. So
Yo, my brain operates in thought traps.
so let's say let's say you well, instead of a game example, I'll just tell you exactly what it is. So the basilisk is supposedly this future AI that will and will not at the same time come into existence. Now, the basilisk will be this super, like, I'm talking like super AI that's capable of basically like simulating any thought, basically simulating any decision you would ever make in your whole life. They could simulate your whole life before you even lived it, and it could do this for everyone on Earth. So what it is and the basilisk wants to exist. So by me telling you this, you are now aware of its existence, and it is now aware of you. You have the choice of of helping to bring it forth, or B, deciding not to do anything, and it decides to do something about you when it does finally exist. That's about as simple as I can make it. So you have this, layman's terms, AI isn't born yet, but it has a possibility of being born, but only if we decide not to make it. But just by talking about it, we up the chances of it being made. And by even knowing about it, you've been thrust into a position where you have to decide whether you will contribute to it coming forth or not. And if it does end up being made, and you decided not to contribute towards it, it has the power to, basically make your life hell.
That is literally the same theory that spiritualists use about demons.
Really?
Yeah, so there's a belief that even if, like, demons didn't exist, like, you don't believe in God, you don't believe he created the devil or whatever, because there are infinite realities and infinite dimensions that we're not aware of, that essentially they believe wholeheartedly that ghosts exist and demons exist, so therefore demons must exist somewhere, right? And us thinking about it, like, literally thought of a demon that's controlling you, or the thought of a demon that's manipulating you, creates that demon. Also, fear causes them to be created. Fear of becoming murderous, becoming evil, becoming hateful, whatever. It creates a demon that causes you to do that. Basically, having to have some sort of celestial being behind every single possible human action, whether it be benevolent or not. Which, if you go in philosophically, the human race probably won't exist without someone having that belief. Like, it would be impossible to eradicate the belief of religion.
Yeah, no, religion is just something that's going to... religion is an inevitability.
Yeah, because the more intelligent humans, like, as long as we stay a highly intelligent race and continue on the path, well, if we continue on the path, I don't want to get into that, but continue to civilize the world and think the way we do and try and ponder reality and life itself, we will always get to a point where there's something that we don't understand, and we're going to make some sort of crazy ass idea about it.
People have to have faith. People need faith in something, because people hate feeling alone. Basically, they hate the idea of, like, this happened for no reason,
Life exists for no reason.
Like, just the idea, the existential terror of not knowing of what comes after can be daunting. So there are people, just out there that they need faith that, if they live their life a certain way, even if they die, they don't have anything to fear.
Yeah, but with that being said, ghost hunters and stuff like that are basically they've created their own religion and they believe that there is an afterlife and that afterlife is whatever the fuck ghosts are. So that is their faith. They don't have to fear death, you know.
Well, I don't know. Honestly, I mean, the paranormal has always been a part of like society. Has always been part of like something we've wondered about, or feared, or been excited to know if it's real or not. Excuse me. I mean, you could still.
Over there, dude?
Yeah, I'm good. Like, you could still have ghosts and be all about science. Like, you could be like, oh, this, like, the subconscious, like, someone's subconscious could still be floating around, even though at this point they're just decaying molecules, like, spread out amongst the universe. Like, there could still be a spark left of that person just floating around and exerting its will without realizing it.
But there are people that are devoting their lives to proving the existence of like consciousness after death,
and that's something I'm kind of excited to know. Like, it's hard to imagine. Like, I think it's actually absolutely impossible to imagine what happens after you die. Like, I don't think you could literally put it into words. It would just be, maybe it is just nothing, but how would you know if you're in nothing? Because your whole life you're aware. You don't know how to comprehend unawareness.
Yeah.
Or sorry, complete unawareness.
Consciousness.
Yeah. It's not something that we're built to comprehend.
That's true. So you think that trying to study the human consciousness and understand consciousness just in general is just a fruitless effort?
I won't say it's fruitless. I believe that if it's worth talking about, it's worth looking into. I just think that as we are right now, where we stand, we have no real way of knowing, and we probably won't for a long time until either we start getting real comfortable doing some experimental science.
Yeah, but like, to be fair though, if you think about it, like, I know it's a separate topic, but human psychology, right? Chemical reactions causing literally thought patterns to be affected. If you believe thoughts are consciousness, like, to be conscious you must have coherent thoughts, because that's something that you would, if you believe in consciousness, would be a proof of consciousness, right? Coherent thought, right?
Proof of consciousness would be, yeah, you could, yeah, thought, like, my dog, I know he's aware of me, and he's aware of his surroundings because of the actions he takes.
Yeah.
So, like, I would assume, it's not just special for us. We're not, while we are a more intelligent species, on our sometimes we're the more intelligent species. I wouldn't say we're entirely special, because once again, we came from that kind of like unawareness that current animals have. Like, they're aware to, like, imagine, like, the wolves just live by instinct, and while dogs also do live by instinct, they do have a sense of morality because we teach it to them.
Well, wolves have a sense of morality. They've proven time and time again that animals are showing some signs of morality.
Now, like, it depends on what you mean.
Morality. But they try to claim it as instinct, right? Like motherly instinct, right? So like a female wolf adopts a human child and nurtures it for no fucking reason at all. I mean, really.
Well, I guess it just depends.
The kid could have been food, but they raised it anyways.
I was speaking more on the lines of like manufactured morality, like, you know, hey, I taught my dog, you know, don't bite people because it's not okay, so he doesn't bite people. But naturally, if a wolf doesn't like you, or if a wolf doesn't know you, it's going to bite.
That's more trust, though.
No, like even like strangers. If a stranger comes into our house, like if a stranger's outside our house, he'll bark up a storm. You know, the whole like, who's this? You know, I don't know you, get away. But the moment the stranger comes into the house, he switches tones. He's like, oh, hey man, what's up? Come on in, catch a seat. And I'm just like, what? Wow. Like, yeah, thanks for not biting him, but what if he was trying to attack me?
He interprets entrance into the domain as acceptable by anyone. That's pretty much all he was taught. I wouldn't call it morality.
Well, it's not just that. Like, okay, look, there's another thing. Like, so my cousin Andrew, he would come in, and back when he was much younger, and Theo was like a year old. Theo hated him, you know, because Andrew would act so nervous around him, and you know that's the whole thing. Don't act nervous around dogs.
Yeah,
and he never really got.
Because if you're acting weird, then they don't like it. They're like, this isn't normal. I don't like it.
Exactly, and you know he would anytime Andrew would come around, Theo would growl. And that's the kind of thing you teach. You teach that, hey, it's not okay to growl at him. So even though he never really got over his nervousness around Theo, well, he's not nervous anymore. He's much older now. It's been like 5 years. But around that time, he learned to stop growling at him because I taught him, like, hey, no, that's not okay. You know, so even if he was nervous, he overcame instinct with what was right and what was wrong with what I taught him.
Is it instinct though, or is it just alpha says this, so must obey alpha?
Well, see, nature versus nurture. It's all gonna come back. It's all gonna come back.
I mean, wolves have alpha system. It's ingrained in them.
Yeah, but
so as long as a human can overcome the role of alpha in a dog's eyes, then anything the human reiterates over and over and over is going to be, any behavior reinforced is going to be done.
It's hard for me to accept the fact that he sees me as an alpha, only because like the moment the door opens and he sees a chance to run out, he will. And whenever I, you know, call him to come back, he doesn't come back. He just thinks it's a game and wants to run off. And the only way I can get him to come back nowadays is like I'll get in the car and I'll drive alongside him and I'll be like, hey, you want to go for a ride? And he'll be like, oh, hell yeah, I do. And he'll hop in. But like,
he just wants to run around.
Oh yeah, no. And he gets plenty of time to run around. Like, I take him on walks. I play with him every day. So like, there's no reason he should just rush out the way he does. But it's, you know, like, so that's why I'm just like, I don't know if he sees me as his alpha because he doesn't come when I call.
Yeah, I guess it would be the question of in a pack of wolves, do the other wolves obey every call from the alpha, or do they only obey the alpha when it comes to pack decisions?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about wolves. I only brought up wolves because I wanted to talk about my dog.
I love Theo. He's sweet.
Yeah, he is.
He's very affectionate.
He learned it from his big brother Devereaux, your dog.
Being sweet?
Yeah, because Devereaux was very sweet. Yeah, he was and that's the other thing
shithead.
Theo learned from Devereaux was to be a shithead. But no, I mean he was very sweet even when Theo was like a baby. Like he was gentle with him. I remember I got them both bones once, and Theo didn't want to play with his bone. He wanted Devereaux's, and Devereaux was just laying there gnawing on it, and Theo would come by. And Devereaux would give him like a little growl, and Theo would like back off a little bit, but then he'd try again. Devereaux finally realizing like growling wasn't working, like I watched him. It was like watching in slow-mo, to be honest. I watched him. He picked Theo up by like the nape of his neck, and he just tossed him across the room. And it wasn't like in a ferocious way. It was like, the kind where you like pick up a ball and toss it to someone like, just a couple feet away from you.
Yeah, it's like, hey kid, piss off. It's my bone.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, that could have gone much further south. Jesus.
I miss Devereaux, little shithead.
Yeah, I do too. And just for clarity's sake, Devereaux wasn't put down or anything, and he didn't die. But unfortunately, when me and Marcirius here used to live together, and when we stopped living together, him and someone else he lived with decided to let the other person have the dog, and that person couldn't handle him and had to give him away. It happens.
Yeah, I should have just taken him with me.
I mean, if you had taken him with you, you wouldn't be living where you are right now.
Yeah, he's the downside of having a German Shepherd. You literally got to get lucky with living places. It's an aggressive breed.
It's an aggressive breed.
Not aggressive at all. He's a chicken. I promise.
I mean, once again, it comes to that nature and nurture thing. I've had plenty of pit bulls throughout my life, and all of them were extremely sweet.
And my uncle had like 4 or 5 pits throughout growing up, and they were all super sweet. There was one male that was just a complete jerk, but all the other ones were just sweethearts. Especially the Sableye. She was a red pit. She's docile as can be. Like, she'd like to lay on your feet and knock you over because she didn't realize how heavy she was. But I was also a kid. So.
Yeah, there was now. It does depend on the situation. There was a next door neighbor we had when I still lived in Troop, and I think I was in middle school, or I was in elementary, I believe. Yeah, I was in elementary. And our next door neighbor's pit bull had babies, and they wanted me to come see them. So I went over and saw them, and after I saw them, I went into the kitchen and talked to them for a little bit, and I'm ready to leave. So here's a scenario. You remember how our kitchen was at the house, right? Just a long hallway.
Yeah.
So imagine a hallway of that type, but on the right is a door that leads outside, and on the left is a couch and just a circle living room. I'm trying to leave, and on the left is where the puppies are, and I'm trying to get to the door on the right. So the mama, thinking I'm trying to come for her puppies, as I get to the door and turn the knob, I just feel this pain in my side, and she is just latched on. Oof. Yeah, I still have the scars from it, but she didn't shake me or anything, she didn't get too deep, but still, there are situations like that where, yes,
it was still a warning bite though. Yeah, she didn't get super aggressive and yank you to the ground or anything.
No.
Yeah,
but still hurt like a bitch. But at that point, it wasn't even the fact that she was a pit bull. She was, a mother dog. So at that point, any dog could be considered aggressive.
Yeah, but I mean, you can pretty much ask anybody that has children what they would do if someone they didn't know came when near their children.
Yeah, if someone was trying to leave my house and my child was in a completely opposite side of the room, I would bite the shit out of them. Just kidding. No.
She's probably on edge the whole time, and you just didn't notice.
Oh no, I noticed she was watching me for sure. I just assumed it was okay for me to leave the house, you know.
Yeah.
But apparently it wasn't. Oh Jesus! How I thought I got these. What the hell? On Power Wash, like you'll know something's done if it flashes, and so I hit something with water and it flashed. I was like, what? I thought I already got that. Gotta change nozzles. Come on. What the hell? Oh, what the hell?
Is there any bigger purpose to killing mercenaries in Odyssey other than ranking up?
You get special weapons from them.
Like it,
I want to
the
say
champion,
there's a story beat for getting to number 1. And
but
also,
nothing. It's just a side quest kind of thing.
yeah, and also when you get to number 1, just to let you know, it's not officially number 1. There's like bonus ranks after that where they get even stronger.
Oh, okay. So you're like S rank.
Yeah.
S rank mercenary.
It's basically like, hey, you hit the top of the list. Here's who's really strong. Oh,
Man, where's the MMO where I get to be an adventurer and rank up while exploring a whole open world?
I thought you were playing Black Desert.
But you're not like there's no guild. There's no like you're not just an adventurer. Like you're some grand hero that's there to save the world or whatever. And like I get it. Everyone wants to be the hero, but I don't care. I just want to be free roaming around and be like, yo, I think I want to be ranked B adventurer, or I want to go decide to be a freaking farmer. You know?
Just play RuneScape then, or I don't know.
Yeah, like RuneScape with 3D. Yeah, pretty much. Better combat, better everything regarded to animation, and then full character control, like actual take the combat system from like an action RPG, and then like gaming's come a long way. I don't see why they haven't gotten to the point where they just make one massive game that has like all kinds of aspects in it. Kind of like a
No Man's
like, you wanna
Sky.
well, more like oh, I'm gonna take my X amount of like SAO, where it can carry your stats over to different games,
Oh yeah.
and they all exist in this big fun-filled universe. But there's actually a central area where every character can interact, and all. I mean, yes, it would be daunting beyond belief to make it. You'd only ever have to make it once.
Michael, we are literally only 2 years away from when that anime takes place.
I don't want to get stuck in a VR game. I want the actual game. I don't give a damn about the VR. I want the actual game he was playing. Like seriously.
Mike, if in 2024 they finally release the first actual full dive headgear, and they say, you know what, guys, just for memes, we actually made SAO, would you play it?
Hell yes. I don't even care. Like, whoop, going out with a bash, you know.
Right? Oh man, I would do anything. I would do anything and everything to get that game if it was made to the same extent. Obviously.
Absolutely, yeah. If it was like some trash cured game that had shit graphics and you died from because the game glitched and you've disconnected on accident because the game something broke, I'd be pissed.
You mean like SAO abridged? I love that shit. We're literally, instead of the actual ending, after they beat the boss, after they beat the boss that they beat in the anime before the final fight, they just get stuck in the room.
Oh my god.
And they can't get out.
That sounds about right.
Oh man. But anyway, I'm thinking I'm gonna stop here for tonight, and you need to go to bed because you've got your thing at 6 o'clock.
Yeah. I'm waking up at 6. Yeah, get some breakfast, all that.
Let me go ahead and quit out of this real quick. and go do this. All right. Well, I hope everyone who watched had some fun. Please have a great night. This was Kyle Carrot Cake and my guest Marcirius. Say goodnight, Marcirius.
Good night.
All right, everyone. Have a. Oh no! Oh, dude. One of my
What?
one of my normal watchers literally just now came in.
Oh my goodness.
Man. Oh, Shy, I'm sorry. It's Betty by time. But go watch the VOD. It was, as we talked about a lot of stuff. It was very interesting. But
A lot of rambling, but yeah.
yeah, you have a good sleep too. Anyway, I'll see y'all next time. Bye bye.